Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Keith Bell, and I am the mayor of the city of Lamarque, and I want to welcome you to our small business series. We have partnered, the city of Lamarque has partnered with the Texas City Lamarque Chamber of Commerce, the Small Business Development Center, to bring training and education, networking opportunities, and information to each and every one of you. And so we're excited about that, primarily because small business is the backbone of every community. Whether it's the butcher, the baker, or the candlestick maker, how we learned long ago in elementary school, or nowadays the restaurant or the plumber, if you will, or even the landscaper. Small business is the foundation of every community, and it's no different in the city of Lamarque. I myself am a small business owner. My family owns small businesses, and so I know what it's like to bump your head, to be misguided, to make mistakes. And so we want, as a city, as a community, to prepare you, our talent, our entrepreneurs, those that will affect change in our community, those that will continue our community in existence. We want you to have the tools that you need in order to prosper, to thrive, and in order to provide good services for us, your fellow community members. And so with that, again, I want to welcome you. I will be here for a few short moments. We have a council meeting next door, and so I have to leave you. But I want you to know that I'm with each and every one of you in spirit, and I'm excited about the potential of your business, and I'm excited about the contribution that you'll be making to our city. And so I'd ask that you give yourselves a round of applause right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to introduce you to a few other folks. I'm going to certainly step back and allow Tim Culp, who is the executive director of the Texas City Lamarque Chamber of Commerce, to come and introduce himself and certainly provide a few words. Thanks, Tim.
Mayor. Appreciate it very much.
That's a good side of it.
Just to kind of reiterate some of the things that the mayor said. Number one, I've been doing chamber work for about 30 years now. And what I can say is I am extremely excited. I've only been here in Texas City Lamarque Chamber for a little over a year. But what I'm excited to tell you about is the fact that, and he mentioned it a moment ago, the partnership that we have formed between the Texas City Lamarque Chamber of Commerce, the City of the Lamarque EDC, and the SBDC. This is a partnership that we've all of us have talked about working together. This is really our second one to do. We did one last year, had about 25 people attend, kind of like what we have today. So it's exciting to be able to help small businesses. Kind of like the mayor said, I come from a small business family. My dad was in the clothing business back in the early 70s. If you can remember when a man used to put on a full suit and tie, and and a lady would have full dress. I mean, everybody dressed up to go to work. Everybody, was kind of like J.B. Pritchett. Everybody dressed up and looked sharp when they went to work every day. But he started there. So he went on and had his clothing business and went on and did some other endeavors. Myself, I was a small business owner. I had 3 employees that worked for me. I owned a medical equipment company. We supplied homebound medical equipment to people around my hometown in about a 250-mile radius. That's how I got involved in the chamber. And so I understand, to the mayor's point again, of what it's like to be a small business owner. So when you come to talk to us at the chamber office, somebody asked me earlier, what does the chamber do? I like to say it this way: we want to be your least paid, yet most productive employee in a time of need. And so we're here to help you. There's a lot of different facets that we can go into. I'm not going to go into that. That's not the reason why you're here this evening. But just know that your chamber is here to help you. We have a great partnership with our economic development here at Lamarque. And basically, if you're less than a year old and been in business for less than a year, and you're in business, the City of Lamarque EDC will help you cover your first year of membership with the Texas City Lamarque Chamber. I will tell you, Alex and the EDC here developed that program. I have started to tell some of my counterparts across the state about it, and they're just like, we never even thought about that idea. We love that idea. So it all started right here in Lamarque, Texas. So we're excited about it, happy to be here with you, look forward to visiting with you and going into more detail. You can get my contact information through Alex and his office, Mandy, and we'll be glad to help you guys out. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Alex Getty and let him make a few comments.
Thank you, Tim, for that. We try to be innovative in Lamarque. We're really proud of that program. It's helped quite a few businesses already. Another caveat to that, if you have been in business in Lamarque for more than a year but have less than 10 employees, you would also qualify. So that's a new program. We also, the board just approved another new program in Lamarque, which is a sign program. And so with certain criteria met, we'll help a business replace or get a new sign in Lamarque. So a little about me, I'm from Lamarque. I've been serving in this capacity for 15 years, and we're always looking for ways to better serve our business community. And so thank you all tonight for being here. This is a great next step for some of you, a great first step for others, but we're here to help. I've got some cards up front there. Feel free to grab one. I'd love to meet with y'all afterwards and in the days to come. We've got some swag there, and we also have some treats. So help yourself, make yourself at home. We hope this is valuable time for you. One more housekeeping item. If you're in one of the chairs that doesn't have a desk, feel free to reorient yourself if you like to have some room to write. So, but thank you again for being here. Without further ado, we've got Amy Reed. She's the meat and potatoes tonight. We're very proud to have her. She's always willing to help and serve and educate, and so she's got a nice program for you. So please welcome her with a round of applause.
I'm Amy Reed. I'm the director of the Galveston County Small Business Development Center, and we're a nonprofit who offer business advice. So you can come in, meet with me one-on-one. We do classes like this. Everything's always confidential. I won't steal your ideas or anything like that, I promise. So just a little bit about what we do is we help. Some of you talked about marketing, how to market your business. Some of you talked about planning, strategic planning. We do a little bit of everything. The only thing we can't really help you with is tax and legal advice. But from there, I want to go into the big question. Why do businesses fail? Anybody know why businesses fail? I mean, we have some ideas up here. One is failure to plan. Anyone know why that's important? Anyone have a business plan already for their business? Good. One person, two people, three people. Okay, more hands kind of going up. I see a couple of y'all I've worked with. Their hands should be a little higher. So that's great. So you have to have a business plan, because if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to succeed? Right? So anytime you put something in writing, you know you're more likely to commit. You're more likely to go through with that and to succeed, right? So a business plan is a living document. It talks about who the players are in the business, what your product is, what your goals are for your business. And when you go back and you revisit that, say once you've already started, you look at your goals and you say, my goal for this year was $100,000 in revenue. Did I meet that goal? And if you did, great. What are you going to do to meet the next goal, and what is that next goal? If you didn't, what happened? Was there COVID? Was there construction outside your establishment? Things happen, right? But if you don't actually focus on those goals, you don't focus on your plan, a lot of times you're just going through the motions. You're just trying to survive. And a lot of small business owners are in survival mode. And you want to be proactive instead of reactive with your business, right? So we always want to have a plan. Another thing is not knowing your market, not being unique. So a lot of the ideas that you guys were throwing out were pretty unique, but you can make any business unique, like personal trainer, not picking on you, but personal trainers, there's quite a few of them, right? But what makes you special? Why is someone going to do business with you instead of doing business with Sam down the road? What is it? Is it your customer service? Is it your product? Is it your personality? What is it that makes you unique? So these are all reasons that you might want to focus on. So also knowing who your customer is. So anyone want to tell me who your target customer is for your business? 25 people. Somebody's going to say something. Youth? Say more.
Teenagers, I mean, young group, because, I'm trying to help develop, mental skills and development for society.
Mm-hmm. So do the youth pay your bills?
Nope.
Youth is not your target market. So your target market is the youth's parents, right? Because they actually pay the bills, but you have to get buy-in from the youth. So you sort of have two targets. They have to be able to relate to you. They have to want to spend time with you, but the parents have to be willing to pay the bill, right? So someone else, throw me out who your target is for your business.
Small business owners for me.
Okay, say more.
Company. They may have a process where they have to order services, purchase agreements, contracts.
Let's focus on the actual business. So is that business 1 employee? Is that business 10 employees, 50 employees?
Any business that has 10 or less employees.
Okay, 10 or less employees, so their revenue is ballpark. They have to be able to afford your services.
Yeah, I don't discriminate. I'm pretty flexible.
So here's the thing. We will do business with anyone who will give us money,
That's true.
right? But that's not your target. So for someone to be able to afford you, they have to have the revenue and the profit to be able to afford your services. So you might, if a small business has 5 to 10 employees, maybe their revenue needs to be somewhere around 200,000 and their gross profit needs to be around 100,000, because they have to look at that bottom line and say, I can afford to pay her $10,000 this year, or whatever your fees might be, right? And that goes for every business. So we will sell to anyone, right? But you want to make sure that you're targeting your target customer, because marketing budget, how much is from your profit, how much should you spend on your marketing budget for your business? Anyone?
It depends on your business. It depends on what you have set aside for your marketing.
So what should you set aside?
For me, it's $250 a month.
And what percentage of your revenue is that?
My percentage of revenue, most of mine is, I'm getting like $2,500.
Okay, so you're spending 10% on marketing. So a good rule of thumb is 5 to 10% for marketing for your business. So some of you are going to be at a lower revenue point. You're going to, when you're just first starting out, maybe your revenue is only going to be $1,000 per month at first. So if you're spending 5 to 10%, you're looking at $50 to $100 on marketing. How far will that take you? How much did you spend on the boosted post for this class? $50. She spent $50 just for this class to boost it so that all of you would see it, which was definitely worth the $50 in my opinion. However, if you are you don't know who your target customer is, and you run an ad, and instead of her saying, I'm looking for small business owners, I'm looking for people who live in La Marque or the Texas City area, I don't know what all maybe you put into that, but instead of her targeting it and maybe talking about age demographics, that type of thing, she would have just thrown that money out and we would have had people from Houston. We might not have had anyone even show up because it wouldn't have been targeted. So y'all see where I'm going with finding that target customer. Sell to everyone and anyone who will give you money if that makes sense for you. But when you're marketing, you have to be more specific so your marketing dollars go farther. So knowing who your customer is very important. Is there a market? So how many of you have done the research on your competition? Okay, that's good. So everyone should look and see who else is doing what we're doing. Remember how I said a little bit earlier about it needs to be unique? You need to stand out. If you haven't stalked your competition, if you haven't done your research, then how do you know what's unique about you versus your competition, right? So you want to make sure you look at their website. If you're a brick and mortar and you're thinking about opening a brick and mortar, go visit them. Go see how they conduct business. How do their employees act? What do you like about the way they conduct business, and what do you not like? Maybe where you can improve upon. So also, one of the things that the SPDC does offer is market research. We can run competitive reports for you to show you who else is doing what you're doing in a specific area, and we do that for free as well. So knowing who your competition is. Because you also want to make sure that there's not too many people doing what you're doing. So now we're going to get into the step-by-steps, and all of you have copies of this too, but of what you need to do when you're starting a business. So, yes, here you go. Oh, thank you. So the first thing is choosing a business name. So anyone want to share their business name with me? Go ahead.
Mine's the prescription skin concierge.
Okay. So if she walked up to you and told you that was the name of her business, would you know what she does? Yeah. Everybody, if you heard the name of her business, you would know what she does?
What was it?
Prescription skin concierge. Prescriptions and concierge.
Skin concierge. So it pretty much tells you who she is and what she does, right? So the only problem with your name that I see, two things. One is, I don't know that a third grader could spell concierge. So when you're thinking about your business name, it needs to be something that a third grader can spell. Anyone know why that's important?
Because the average
reader reads on third grade level, or most of our education kind of hits home on the third grade level.
That is true, but there's another specific reason. Anyone know?
How we gonna find them on Google, really?
It's your web domain. Right? So if they can't spell the name of your business, what if they miss that E and they end up on somebody else's page? Or they don't even have a website. Why am I going to do business with them? They can't find you. So when you're thinking about your business names, short, sweet, third grade spell, and you really want to make sure that it's available as a domain. Because do you exist if you do not have a website? If Google doesn't know who you are you in business? No, you're not. So you definitely want to think about those things when you're naming your business. So then we move into organizational structure. Anybody intimidated by that line? Okay, good. So into organizational structure, there's three main structures that most of you would fall under because no one in here is a medical practice or legal. So DBA is through our county clerk's office. You go to the county clerk's office, which I'm told we just opened a new annex behind the chamber. Is that right? What I heard. So we have one in Galveston. We have one in League City. I posted on their Facebook, but they haven't replied to me. I asked if they do DBAs there. So once I find out, I'll know. But anyway, it's $24.50. You take your driver's license, your business name, and as long as it's available, you are able to do business in Galveston County. But only Galveston County. If you choose to, say you're someone who sells to like farmers markets and you want to go to Brazoria and participate in a farmers market there, you would also need to go to the Brazoria County Clerk's office and do the same thing. It's only good for Galveston County. Also, as a DBA, everything is attached to your Social Security number. So at the end of the year when it's time to do taxes, it's all lumped into your own personal Social Security number, all that income. So if this is a side hustle, let's say you make $100,000 or $50,000 at your day job, and then you made $50,000 at your side hustle, you'll now have $100,000 on your income because it's all attached to your social. The second most common, and this is really the most common that I see most small businesses, is an LLC. So an LLC is through the Secretary of State. If anyone a veteran, do we have any veterans? Perfect, thank you for your service, thank you for your service. So veterans get LLCs for free. You go through the Texas Veteran Commission, you send them your DD-214, and they send you a certificate with a code on it, and then you enter that onto the Secretary of State's website, and you pay $1 for your LLC, and that's just the name search. For everyone else who's not a veteran, it's $301 to register your LLC. And there's something new now. Anyone heard of BOI? The Beneficial Owner Information Act? Yes. So if you are already in business, definitely need to take care of that. So the federal government is trying to weed out money launderers. And in an effort to do this, if you are an LLC and you registered before December 31st of 2023, you have the whole year to register with the federal government through the BOI. If you register after January 1st, you have 30 days. If you do not do that, they can fine you up to $500 per day for not doing this. So it's something you definitely want to make sure. If you need that information, please email me. I'll send it to you to make sure you're taken care of. The great thing about an LLC is it protects your personal assets. So when you register, basically what happens is you have an entity over here just for your business, and then you have your personal assets. Can't commingle those funds. And when at the end of the year comes, you have what's called an EIN that we're going to talk about in a minute. And it's basically like the Social Security number for your business. So you have those taxes that are due on March 15th, and then they pass through over to your personal taxes that are due on April 15th. And the last is incorporated. Most people do not incorporate their business until they've been in business for several years. So generally don't go into a lot of that, but it's totally separate from personal. There's no pass-through. Any questions on the business structure? Good? All right. Did I lose anybody? Okay. All right. So that moves us on to the EIN. The EIN is what I was talking about. It's through irs.gov, and it's basically the Social Security number for your business. So if any of you go to do this, go to irs.gov. There's a search bar, put in EIN. If it tries to tell you it's going to cost $250, you are on the wrong website, I promise you. This is a free service. I have so many clients who come to me and tell me that they paid $200, $250 for this service. It's totally free through the IRS. And then that moves us on to our sales tax. So some of you in here are selling products. And in the state of Texas, you pay 8.25% sales tax, and you have to register through the state comptroller. So what happens is you sell the product, you collect that money. We recommend you put it into a separate savings account for your business. And then when it's time to pay your sales tax, you pay the state that way. Because that is not your money. That money belongs to the state. Anyone know what happens to your sales tax dollars? Why we have to have sales tax dollars? Y'all like the roads we drive on?
It takes care of us.
What's that?
I said it takes care of us.
It does.
Our freeways, our
Right, our infrastructure. So 6.25% goes back to the state, but then we get the other 2% here. Do you get to keep all of the 2% in Lamarque?
0.5% goes to the EDC, 1/2 to pay down the ad valorem tax, and 1 full penny goes to the general fund of the city.
So it benefits. I know a lot of people complain about sales tax, but it benefits your community, and without it, we would not have the infrastructure that we have. So if you do not sign up to do your sales tax, if you think, I'm just gonna sell these products for a while and I'll deal with that sales tax later, the state actually has their own department of detectives who are constantly out there monitoring for this, and you do not want to be on their list of businesses that are not paying their sales tax. It is not a good place to be. So that brings us to bank accounts. We have so many great lenders and banks in our area. A lot of them offer products like loans and lines of credit. Some of them even have free business banking. Credit unions are also great. Not all of them work with LLCs. Some of them only work with DBAs. So you can do some research on that. But a couple points of advice. One is, if you think you may need for a loan for your business down the road, think about a bank who might be more likely to lend to you. Great banks like Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, those are great banks, but a lot of times they don't deal with loans until you hit about the 1.5 million. Community banks like Texas First Bank, Frost Bank, Amegy, BBVA, PNC, those are all banks that are more community minded, and you can go in and you can set up multiple bank accounts with them. Like I was saying, having a savings account for your taxes. What we recommend is you have a general operating account. So this account is where every penny someone gives you comes into this account. Every penny that you spend on your business comes out of this account. And then you have your savings account. That savings account is savings for both your sales tax and your federal tax. Anybody know what the average percentage is for federal tax for a small business owner? 33%. It's 30. You're really close. So you've got 8.25 that's off of your revenue that goes to the state. And then you have approximately 30% off your profit, not your revenue, but your profit that then goes to the federal government. So having a savings account where you're moving this money every month is going to give you a little peace of mind. You're going to sleep a lot better because you're going to know that money's sitting there when those tax bills come due, right? And then the third account is if you have employees. We recommend having a payroll account. And the reason for this is if you're ever audited by the IRS, they like it. And we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to just stay clear of the IRS, to be totally honest. Any questions on bank accounts? All right, awesome. So that sets us up with accounting. So how many of you, the ones of you that are, okay, that's what I was waiting to hear. You're my client too, right? Yeah. So Wave Apps is a free record-keeping software. If you have not heard of Wave Apps, definitely look it up. It does almost everything that QuickBooks does, and it doesn't cost you a penny until you add on payroll. If you want special support, it costs money. If your inventory is over, I think, 100 items or something like that, it costs money. But anytime before that, it is totally free. You get a P&L, profit and loss. You get a balance sheet. You can look at what your cash flow is any day of the week. It's called Wave Apps.
Wave?
Wave
Yeah.
Apps. WAVEAPPS. Totally free, cloud-based. You can, I recommend using it on your desktop, but you can always look at it on iPads, phones, that sort of thing. Another great feature with it is you can send an invoice to your clients. They click on the link, and it goes straight to your bank account when they pay it. You can also see if they've opened that invoice. No more are the days where I haven't got your invoice, right? Those days are gone. And you can also, if you upgrade to the paid version, they'll send reminders. So the invoice was due on the 30th. By the 3rd, they can send a reminder saying, hey, we still haven't seen the payment for your invoice. So any questions on the bookkeeping software? Okay, everybody's going to check out Wave Apps? Yes, okay, good. All right, so then that kind of takes us into some of the operational, like securing office space. So I heard a few of you guys talking about brick and mortar, wanting to actually look for office space. So word of advice is think about scaling your business. So sometimes you have to crawl before you can walk, before you can run, right? So a lot of times people will come in and they're instantly telling me about the building they want. Now, a venue, I understand that kind of thing, you have to have a building. But some of what you're doing, you can work from your home at first. Or we have some co-work spaces. There's one in Galveston called the Marmo, and then we have one in Texas City that's about to open called the Phoenix. These are spaces that have small offices at a very low price, and they're called accelerators because you can be there for the first 3 years of your business to kind of help get you started before you have that big price of being in a building by yourself. So sometimes what I tell people is, let's set a goal that you're going to work from your home until you hit this revenue point, or until you've had this many customers to support. Right? So we have to figure out what your break even is first. What is your break even to work from home? What is your break even to rent a space? What is your break even to build a building? Right? So going back to that business plan, the planning, the thinking ahead instead of just thinking, I'm just going to go get a loan and start this. I guarantee you want to think about scaling your business up. When you're looking at retail space, City of Lamarque has something new on their website that shows you open spaces, right? What is it called on the website?
Go ahead. No, we use Moody Analytics as the engine behind it, but we still cross-reference between that and LoopNet and other places as well.
So if you're interested in doing business here in Lamarque and opening a storefront here, go to their website. It'll show you what's out there. It's a great source. They just put this into place a few months ago. And then there's also, you can go straight to LoopNet and that sort of thing if you're looking at other areas. And I always recommend before you open your business that you talk to the EDC. Ask them, is this something that the city would be interested in coming to the city? Do you see a need for this? Because they have their thumb on what's going on in the city. So it's great market research, right? And it's free. You're reaching out and just asking. And we move into insurance from there. So most of you for your businesses need insurance. Business insurance is a little bit different than personal. Not all businesses need it, but some of you, like consultants, you might need errors and omissions. It's very inexpensive, but it protects you, right? If you have a building, there's liability insurance. It just depends. So I definitely recommend getting 3 quotes. We have AIG, American National, and GIA all in Galveston that do business insurance. But if you're a homeowner, some of your homeowner companies, like even Progressive, will add on to your homeowner's policies with business insurance policies. It just depends on what type of business that you're opening. And then we're going to talk a little bit about employees, but any questions on building or insurance or anything like that? Okay. So do you guys think that it's easy to find talent right now? Is it easy to hire and find talent? No, it's an employee's market right now, right? So as an employer, it's really hard to find. So what happens, what is important once you find that employee? Keep them. You got to keep them. So there's talent acquisition, but even more than talent acquisition is talent retention. So how do we keep people?
Pay them a living wage, a good wage.
Yeah, you have to pay a wage. What else? Benefits. What else?
You could give them buy-ins.
Buy-in. Say more.
So if you have someone that makes it through the orientation, say your orientation as a small business person is 6 months, not 90 days like a corporate. In 6 months, you see they're very committed to your organization, you can offer them anywhere from 1% to 3% stock or ownership.
Right, so they can possibly own in the business. What about culture? How many of you want to feel like you make a difference at work? How many of you want to feel like your job is rewarding? How many of you want to feel appreciated? So I think that that's extremely important, and a lot of business owners forget that. So we've all had those jobs where we were just getting up and earning a paycheck, right? But how about the jobs where you got up and you actually wanted to go to work? That's the people I want working for me. My staff, I'm constantly checking in with them. Is there anything you need from me to feel better about your job? Are you happy? What are your goals? Those are the types of things that you do to grow your employees so that sometimes they leave because they've outgrown you. And that's okay because you've made a difference with them. But they're going to stay and they're going to do a better job for you when they feel that they are wanted and appreciated. I'm also going to talk a little bit about soft skills. So soft skills, how many of you shake a hand whenever you meet somebody? Pretty much everybody in the room, because we were all shaking hands when you were coming in. And you smile and you make eye contact. If these are things that you want your employees to do, if you want them to answer the phone a certain way at your business, you have to tell them. Today, they just don't know. It's not something that we can assume people know. So you have to tell them, every time someone walks in, I expect you to make eye contact, smile. I want you to ask them how they are today. I want you to count their money back to them when you give them their change. When's the last time that happened? I know I went to the grocery store the other day and they just laid my money right in front of me, just laid it there. So, and no thank you. So you really want, if that's the kind of relationship you want your employees to have with your customers, you have to teach them. That's your job. And that also leads us into the business plan. So remember, I'm a big proponent for the business plan. This is how the business will be successful. This is how the business will grow. This is how you'll prosper. Those employees should be introduced to the business plan. They should know what the mission of your business is, what your goals for the business is, and most importantly, how do they play into that? If your goal for the year is revenue-based, how do they play into that revenue goal? If your goal is to drive in more customers, how do they play into that revenue goal? So those are all things you really want to think about. And then that moves us into anything about employees before I move on. Okay, we're going to talk about marketing. So how many of you use social media on the daily basis? Pretty much everybody. How many of you plan to use social media for your business? How many of you are scared to use social media for your business? Yeah, I get it. Are you scared because you don't know what to post, or are you scared that you're going to mess up?
Yes.
Yes. I get that too. So I'll admit to you, when I first started using social media for business, I was scared too. But now I understand that you just need to be authentic. Be you. If you make a mistake, it's okay. Social media is about connection. It's about how do you connect with your customer? How do you get them to connect with you so they want to do business with you? Who do people do business with?
People they like.
And?
Trust.
And? No. People do business with those they like, know, and trust. Social media is a great way for you to start that relationship. So by posting authentic things, I mean, your hair's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. How are you going to look when I come and do business with you? That's how I want to see you. I don't want to see you all dolled up on social media and then I come in and you're looking like you just rolled out of bed, right? If that's how you look, that's how you look. It's fine. But I want to see who you are authentically. I also want to hear, how can I use the things in your business to help me? What's the value to me, right? And that doesn't mean that you're constantly selling. Does anybody know how often you should post something about your sales or service on your business?
Once a week.
So it's once every 5 posts. So if you post every day, then once a week would make sense. But if you're posting, say, 3 times a week, then every 5th time should be something about, hey, come see us, we have a sale going on, right? People don't want you to push sales down. They want to do business with you because they like, know, and trust you. So let's say you're an AC business, right? And one of the days you post about things that you can do to avoid us coming to your house. Maybe it's cleaning your filters or something like that. Or, hey, it's summertime. Have you had your AC serviced? You know, these are some things you can do at home. I don't know about y'all, but like I had to go out and hose down my filters. It's that time of year. It came up on my calendar. I don't know. I do it every year. So there's those types of things, right? So just pushing out information, also sharing information, making yourself the expert in the field. So let's say that you follow the Harvard Journal or something like that for your business, and they had a great article that pertained to what you do. Share it on social media. Give them credit, but share it. It makes you look like you know who to go to for the information. It makes you look very credible. Also, how many of you are using AI? Okay, a couple. Which AI are you using? ChatGPT? Okay. So I love ChatGPT, honestly. And did you know you can use it for your marketing? So you can put it in and you can say, you know, I need to create a 30-day campaign. This is what I want to talk about. I want to hit awareness. I want to hit DIY. I also like to have some credibility. And I need 15 posts. I'd like the hashtags that should go with these posts. And I'd also like the emojis I should use. If you put all of that into ChatGPT and tell it what kind of business you have, it will spit out that 30-day campaign for you in about 30 seconds. And then don't copy and paste it into your social media because it kills your algorithm. You have to retype it. That's the bad thing, but you didn't have to think of all of it. And you do need to tweak it. Make it human, make it you. Also, I don't know if you know this, but you can tell ChatGPT, you can train it to talk more like you. So like sometimes I'll put something in, I'll say, can you make this sound a little more fun? Because sometimes it sounds too smart. I'm not that smart. So I wanted to dumb it down a little bit, right? So those are just, you know, a couple ways like with social media, but then outside of social media with marketing, websites. You have to have a website. You don't need to spend $5,000 to have someone design your website. You can do it yourself. You can come to us. We'll help you design it. We don't charge anything for that. There's usually a monthly fee that goes with it, but you have to have a website so that people can find you, and you have to have a domain attached to it. And what's the other big way to market your business? What's that?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, right? So word of mouth usually comes from community activity, right? Being active in your community, being active with nonprofits, and that leads us into chambers of commerce. Tim talked to us about chambers of commerce earlier today. Let me tell you, I'm just going to tell you for my own business. So I own a business, and then I work for the SBDC. And we've been members of the chamber for 15 years, something like that, but I never showed up. I didn't go to any chamber events. I was just a name on the roster, and they did refer people to me. I'd see their newsletters, but once I started showing up, everything started changing. Everyone started knowing who we were. We were active. We were building relationships. Remember, business, it's so important to build relationships. People started seeing us as a more credible resource. They were wanting to do business with us. They wanted to be a part of what we were doing, and it can be the same way for y'all's businesses. And sometimes that comes from chambers of commerce. Sometimes that comes from working with nonprofits. Just get out there and be a part of your community. So from there, I'm just going to ask for any questions that any of you may have come with tonight that maybe we could answer. Because if you have that question, so does someone else. Yes, ma'am.
Access to grants and any type of mentorship.
So two separate questions. I'll do mentorship first because that's more positive. Mentorship is, there's us, and then there's also another organization called SCORE. So SCORE are volunteers, and they're almost all retired volunteers, and they're through we're an SBA resource, so are they. And what they are is they're industry-specific mentors. So if you're opening a consulting business, you can get on their website, find someone who owned a consulting business similar to you, and you can reach out to SCORE, and they charge nothing for that service. Also, mentors in your community. So remember I was talking about getting involved in the community? Find someone at the chamber who you admire, in a different industry even, and ask them, how did you grow your business up? What challenges did you have? What were your best practices to grow your business? And that mentorship kind of happens without you even having to ask for mentorship. And grants, there are not a lot of grants, unfortunately. So if you are a minority women veteran, there are more grants than anything else, but most of the grants are based around nonprofits. Hello Alice has a grant out there right now. Wells Fargo has a grant out there right now. I always send them to Alex and Mandy. So if you watch the Marque EDC page, they always post the grants when they come out too. So it's a great way, the ones that we know about at least. There's also grants.gov. It's a government-based website, so it's not super user-friendly, but you can get on there and just be very specific with your criteria. I will tell you that those grants that are listed on that website, they're like writing a research paper in college usually. So there's a lot that goes into it, and you have to meet every piece of that grant to be able to apply. Yes, ma'am.
Can you repeat the third one that you said?
Hello Alice, Wells Fargo, and grants.gov. Any other questions?
Will there become more resources for virtual and online businesses within this area?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Will there be more resources like virtual? I would like my address to be in Marque. So I would say like virtual addresses or remote offices, just for the growth of online businesses within Marque. And I know Texas City has that thing going on. That's what I'm mostly why I'm here.
Well, I think as far as from a virtual business, you can do that anywhere. The business still operates the same. It's just that it's online. Whether you are, doing everything out of your kitchen or out of a separate office in your home, it's no different than if you bought an office space and worked there. So as far as resources go, all the resources are the same whether you're virtual or in person. The only difference is like through the EDC when he was talking about some of their incentives they have. The signage, of course, does signage apply for home-based businesses or just for? Yeah, but the Chamber of Commerce incentive is there for home-based businesses or no?
We haven't crossed that bridge yet.
Okay.
Again, it's a new program. It's about 7-8 months old.
Okay.
We have to look at that.
Okay. So it could be a resource. So I would say submit an application, and because it's so new, then maybe they'd consider it.
There's also, to her point, there's also, I guess, a request in the business environment when you work from home and you're interacting with like lenders and different resources, they frown upon your home address being your business address. So then there's another service being offered to small business owners called a virtual office.
Oh,
With a
okay.
virtual office,
Yeah, you can go through UPS to get that. UPS has an address.
but
Yeah.
there are also literal businesses offering that.
Right.
And the closest one for us is
City, I think.
Clear Lake or Lake City.
Yeah, I think it's Clear Lake.
To her
Right.
point, will we, in this particular community, could we look into getting virtual office services? Did I say that right?
That's definitely something that you can talk to EDC about. So Alex heard that. We can follow up with him on that.
Tim and I are having a sidebar about that.
Okay. Okay, there you go. That's why we do this. Ask the questions because you don't know if you don't ask. That's good.
It is challenging.
It is.
Yes.
Interact in the business world, and they're like,
Right.
whatever you do, don't put your home address as your business.
And it comes
go
with
get your
registering
virtual.
with the state as well, you know what I mean? Because we have to have those addresses in order to make sure that we have those bank accounts. So we have,
Right.
those types
But I've never had a problem. Did you have a problem when you were registering your business with the state and using your home address?
I'm
Okay.
able to use a virtual address, but
Okay.
it'll be useful, to have an address that's closer to home rather than
Right.
me traveling back and forth to my mailbox in Lee City.
No, I do agree with that. But I've never had a problem where someone who had a home-based business had any trouble with a lender. I mean, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've had a lot of home-based businesses who've received loans, and they've never had a problem with it. But maybe I just haven't come across it. So having a virtual office closer would be great for you guys. Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier the BOI. So I think you may want to do research on that because it may conflict with registering the new business because they want to see a physical address. So
That is part of it. Yes, they want to make sure those money launderers, because they're the ones who generally have those virtual
a lot
addresses.
of times they won't let you use a PO box.
Right,
Your address.
right. Any other questions?
How do you obtain the Texas sales or use tax permit? So if I do an online service, what do I do? Or is that
Are you selling it through an e-commerce site?
it's through a website? It's established. I haven't done any sales yet, but when I do, the service is going to be either at a hourly rate or as a package. But when the client or student pays for it, and how do I report that at the end of the year?
You're a consultant, right? You're going to be a consultant?
It's going to be, yes, but not as the, I'm not talking about the financial advisor side. I'm talking about the actual like tutoring services as an instructor or teacher.
Okay.
So it's all online. So, you know.
Tutoring services are not a taxable service.
Okay.
So you wouldn't have to worry about the sales tax. You would just need to have that savings account to put your federal tax in based off of your profit.
Okay.
Now, if you are doing a sales, if you're selling products through an e-commerce site, most of them like Shopify, Wix, nowadays, they have a report that'll give you, and it'll show you each state how much sales tax you owe to that state depending on where your products were sold. Because some of the states are if you sell $1 in their state, you owe them sales tax, and others, they have like a $1,200 threshold before you pay them anything. So definitely use a trusted e-commerce site. Even if you do like a WordPress or something like that, they have plugins that can go in and help with that nexus. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question kind of related to that. So before you talked about like with the DBA, so if it's registered within or registered in Galveston County, like you can only do business in that county?
Except for e-commerce.
Okay, I was just gonna say, how do you do it for online business?
That's just for in-person. So e-commerce, you can, once you have that DBA, you can set up your e-commerce site wherever you're at and you can sell all around the nation, the globe actually. Any other questions?
As far as domains are concerned, when you're setting up that, how important do you think it is nowadays to get a .com versus .net, or do you think it matters anymore?
Who's .net? Who's .business? Really, I mean, if it's not .com, you know, even I have to joke because Texas First Bank today, I was talking to them, and they end with .bank. And I know that because that's so unusual, but generally if it's not .com, I'm probably not going to get to your site because I'm just going to assume that you're a .com. Also, just so you know, you can buy multiple domains and point them at one website. So like say your Google keywords are AC Texas City, something like that. If that domain's available, you can point that, plus you can point your business name, plus you can point cheap AC repair. You can point as many as you want at one, but I always recommend doing .com. Any other questions? Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming tonight. Thank you.